The first thing to do in fitting the main body is just to get somebody to help you lift it up and drop it on. Like I said, I move the brake line a little bit forward so that it doesn't interfere when you drop the body on. And it's just a matter of lifting it up over the body or the frame and the roll bar and dropping it straight down. And then the fun begins of aligning all the corners. Having some little C-clamps like this, very helpful, so you don't have to drill all kinds of holes, re-drill them, change them, slot them, everything else. Basically, you're going to start in one corner, and if you start looking at the tires and how much room there is, basically it works out to about 3/4 of an inch all around the tires. And the body cutout is real nicely shaped to match your tires. So if you start at this corner here, the rear passenger side, get that where you want it, you'll be able to slip this C-clamp. The lighting's probably not good enough, but up inside of there where I have a open-end wrench lying there that I lost, and now I have found it. And just slip that over the fiberglass and underneath the aluminum flange sticking out there and pin it down. And then you have a starting point to go with. Because that you can loosen back up and change the position again. So the first thing you want to just look at is front to back. The whole body can slide forward or back the way it is now. Right now I'm going to slide it forward, and besides getting a fiberglass sliver, you see the gap grew quite a bit in the back and shrank in the front. And that gap in the front is going to be a problem because the tire will rub on a turn. And that's one of the things you want to test with it. So if I push the body back again, you can see it moves pretty easily. I can get it back to what is approximately 3/4 in the back there. So you want to keep doing that until you get it, front to back aligned up. So I started on the driver's side, and I've already pinned this corner back here so that I have one that's correct to begin with. So that's 3/4 of an inch away from there. There's a little bit of movement you can do with the washer placement in the back, but you got to watch your caster camber when you're playing around with that, so that you can move it 1/8 of an inch or so forward or back with that. But I'm trying to see if I can just make out the C-clamp in there. It's right along the inner part of the coolant tube going down inside. You also want to look and make sure there's nothing interfering with the body from coming down. The coolant tank is shaped nicely for that, so it's not touching or anything. And the door is just sitting in there temporarily, because you'll see the adjustments you can make with the doors. So this side's nice. You've got a nice 3/4 of an inch clearance. I can slide my hand in there and it will turn. So then now we're going to go to this side over here. Again, I'm just putting the door in there without the hinges just temporarily, just to make sure it can fit. And right now, it fits almost perfectly. Didn't plan it that way. It's not always that easy, but that just dropped in and the seams are real nice. But what I want to show you back here is that you can actually change the body, pull it out or push it in, and you'll see the gap in the tire change. So you want to have the body, two things. You want to have it sit so the tire is just tucked in there on the towards the bottom, and then the tire is going to change with the camber, and that's where we're going to pin it. And then also it's going to change your door seam down here. If you pull it out, the body's going to move out and the door is going to stay pushed in, so that the seam isn't going to be exactly right. So now I push the body in a little bit, and now the seam came perfect. So you're doing a combination of two things. And right now, with the door being perfect, that's nicely in place. So I'm going to slip in C-clamp back here. So it's up over the fiberglass body and underneath the aluminum. And I'm going to clamp it nice and tight. So now this corner can't move. And you can go around the whole car like that, and you notice there's still movement up top and around. But let's do the bottom corners first. All four of them. So now I have the back two. Now there's an area up under here. If you slip your hand in under here, there's a hole there, and you can feel the fiberglass overlapping the aluminum there, sitting right on top of it. So you can get another C-clamp in there and pin it down. The side splitter is going to go underneath the aluminum. So it goes side splitter first, underneath the aluminum, and then the main body, the fiberglass of that. That's not going to affect the placement of the body. But so I want to get some pilot holes in there, or starter, alignment holes. So I'm not trying to get that splitter to stay in place at the same time. It's kind of tricky. So if you're not working with something that's going to fall down, it makes your job a lot easier. Because the splitter is not going to change the position of the holes. So they're in place. So what I'm going to do now is put the car up high enough so that I can drill and put 4 holes, right next to these C-clamps, pin the body in, and then I'm going to move on to the top part. And I want to do this on the ground because what's going to happen is when the tires go up in the air, the turn, when you turn the tire, it's going to rub eventually no matter what you do. But at this point here, if you got it right, the tire can turn completely and doesn't rub at all. It's kind of scary because it definitely looks like it wants to rub when you're just looking at it, but it doesn't. So that's turned all the way and it's not hitting. I can still get my fingers in there behind it. And if you look at the door, the body position is very nice. So I'm going to jack the car up and drill the holes, and then we'll move on to where the cups are for mounting it to the frame.